let's see what we got here. Let me turn off my phone, or at least put it on the airplane mode. Hey, we're gonna do this again, and yeah, 2 days in a row. Let's see how this works out. My name is Levi Smith. This is my live art stream channel thing. Today, a little bit of a late start. I like to start this usually about half an hour sooner. I mean, I'm just happy to start it at this point. But yeah, let's see. Today we're going to draw a thing. I mean, as usual with this whole deal, it is a live stream, free drawing kind of thing. Not a tutorial necessarily, but yeah, we're just gonna draw something and talk about stuff. Man, it has been hot and humid today here in wonderful Phoenix, but you know, it is what it is, right? So yeah, so we're just gonna get right to it. I'm gonna switch over to the other camera here, or to the other view. What have I done? Let's see here. Did that work? I just want to make sure that I did not mess things up. Alright, so we're gonna move to this, and yeah, so we're gonna draw. I don't know what we're gonna draw. Maybe, and this is one of those things, I guess. Yeah, I guess we will just draw a skull. So let's see here. I want to make him looking down. I mean, this is, so skulls have always been a thing that I would use as a warm-up. It's also, you know, there's a little trick in illustration with warming up, basically called a confidence drawing. You know, when you're warming up, you should be trying to draw something that you're familiar with, something that's easy to you, not necessarily something that's going to challenge you or you're going to struggle with, because that's not really what a warm-up is for. A warm-up is to build confidence, get those juices flowing, get that creative dopamine kicking in. And so if you choose something that you're not necessarily familiar with or really used to drawing, then yeah, then those challenges and stuff can really put like a negative spin on your whole day as far as drawing goes. Excuse me. So drawing something that's familiar, like I said, I mean, it's a big boost. You know, you're like, oh, okay, yeah. You tell your brain you can draw, that you got the ability, that it's there today, and you know, then you just go with it. One of the things that you'll notice, so this is a much more cartoony type skull. I'm just trying to draw through it fairly quickly right now. So basically, I learned how to draw skulls initially with Ghost Rider comic books, and yeah, you know, the expressive eyebrows, the eyeballs and stuff inside, just a general cartoony kind of thing, you know, bringing out the cheekbones and exaggerating different elements and stuff just to pull out, you know, the features that really make a skull, I guess, characteristic. You know, it's always good to do some study, some reference, make sure you know what you're drawing, where and why, and then once you get to a certain level of familiarity, then you can really play with different aspects. Yeah, so this, I'm just gonna draw, yeah, just drawing this guy out real quick here. Man, I'm thinking, and I don't want, probably gonna end up drawing a lot of skulls in this channel, I'll tell you the truth, and I don't want to overdo it. I got the feeling that I may have already done a skull. I cannot specifically remember. I mean, I've only done, what, 6 of these, but but you know the days move quickly, and and as far as like the things, I mean, I draw so much day to day that it can be hard, like at the end of the week, to really take stock of what I've drawn, what I haven't, unless it's particularly memorable or usual. Um, but everything keeps moving at a pace where, you know, I just keep going. You know, one of the things that I enjoy the most about art is the making part of it, more so than the reveling in the have made it kind of aspect. And so, man, once I'm done with something, I move to the next. You know, it's just part of the obsession, I guess. All right, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of hatching in here. One of the things, and obviously, I mean, this is just a sketch. This is just a fast and loose concept idea sketch. One of the things that I want to do with this is just play around and see my lighting. Of course, I'm just going to hatch in some obvious dark spots. That's going to bring out some of this and tell me where I want my lighting and what do I want to do with this skull. I mean, we've kind of gotten to this part here fairly quickly, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do a skull today, is because I knew I could get to a point where I could be doing some refining and stuff on it very, very quickly. And so, let me do this. Now, I don't know. I don't know what else we could do. We could do the Ghost Rider thing, do the flaming skull. We could do like a Motorhead kind of thing, put some gears and stuff around him. We could do the classic tattoo, just some roses or something around him. I don't know. Oh, you know what I think I'll do? And just as a fun kind of connection, I guess, to maybe yesterday's robots, is we will, I think we're going to go like a Terminator kind of thing with him. So I'm going to drop the opacity nice and low here. And let's see, we're going to, now it's still sketchy, but now I'm going to be quite a bit more deliberate and build up some more specific shapes here, refine things, and obviously kind of use what I've already laid down to tell me what I want, where I need to go with this. Yeah, so, man, what's been going on? I watched the last episode of Kenobi, which was awesome. I really, really enjoyed it. I really overall enjoyed that whole series. I still gotta say that the young actress that's playing Princess Leia is just fantastic. Just one of the best parts. Absolutely love that. And I really thought that it was apt. You know, it made a lot of sense that Leia, as a young kid, would have way more exposure to adventures and the reality of the galaxy in the Star Wars galaxy than Luke would. You know, Luke's pretty naive, really eager and ready to go. You know, has this quiet farm boy kind of life. Leia clearly did not have a farm boy life. She was very involved, politics. I mean, all the strife and everything. You know, she'd already been kidnapped, interrogated. You know, had faced off against Sith and had a much more direct and actual experience with Jedi. Um, and then there's the line, where they're in A New Hope, where she seems, she's sending her message, General Kenobi, you served with my father during the Clone Wars. She does not mention, that she had any kind of like actual direct familiarity with Obi-Wan at that point, and that's fine. Whatever, There's, I think there's bigger issues in storytelling and continuity than something like that, especially when the payoff it's just great. I really, really enjoyed it. And then I also watched the latest episode of Star Trek: Strange New World. Interesting one. I don't really have a problem with the episode. It's not really my style. I'm not off on. I really enjoyed it. I thought that they did it really well. Usually one of the more, it fits definitely into the more campy kind of episodes that has been done in the past in Star Trek, and I'm totally fine with that. I don't mind at all that Strange New Worlds is really kind of, hitting some classic notes with this series. I mean, it's just been fantastic. I mean, it's easily one of the best, and there's enough Star Trek there for that to really matter. I mean, I guess if there's only three shows, then one of the best is just whatever. But out of how many are there now? There's the original season, the animated series, the first animated series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, Lower Decks, Discovery, Prodigy, Strange New Worlds. There's 10. There's literally like 10 Star Trek series out there. Yeah. So I mean, it's easily. I mean, my absolute favorite is Voyager, and but I will. My second favorite is Deep Space Nine. I would definitely say that Deep Space Nine is better than Voyager, but Voyager I still just love the Doctor, Paris, B'Elanna, Janeway. I just love that show. Lower Decks has been fantastic, especially. I mean, I would say that one is more Star Trek than any other Star Trek, and Strange New Worlds has been getting close. All right, let's see here now. This guy's not really looking very robotic, I must say. But we can do a couple things that'll change that really, really quickly. Alright, that eyebrow, I just love it. I don't care. I don't care if it's anatomically wrong. It just adds so much more to the skulls, and as a kid, I loved skulls. I loved how metal they were, how hardcore, like this perfect visual representation of death. But then they've got this smile to them, and it's just like, man, I wanted one of my skulls to look mean, I wanted to look a little crazy, and so that eyebrow really, really did a lot to do that, And so here we go. Here I'm going to add in these little greeblies. Just little details, little machine-like details. Stuff that'll kind of cue us into, it kind of tells our brain like, oh, that's some kind of machinery kind of feature, that we would recognize. Seams, little screw holes. Do a little vent right here. That always does a lot. vent right here. The nose hole, I guess, would be a natural mechanical vent. Oh yeah, eye details always. I mean, the eyes really just put the soul into a piece. They add so much. You know, there's a creepiness that that can just come from doing those eyes right. You know, and yeah, it's just something else. Just kind of doing these little shapes here like this, just to kind of build up a robotic kind of sense here in this eye socket. And I like to think that there's a lot of doodads connecting to the eyeballs. Not curved. I want this to be straight lines, at least, you know, mostly. Alright, I should be okay with that. Let's see here. I'm thinking that I am going to just do half this guy. Just play with I'll just have basically the opportunity to get this a little bit more finished, and show off a little bit more something that it's going to just be more interesting. So I think, man, I'm thinking, you know, I don't know if I need any more robotic-y type stuff. These little greeblies. I think this is enough. It's definitely making him feel kind of cybernetic, kind of robot-y. But I really want to get into some cross-hatching, shading type detail. And who knows? I mean, maybe I'll actually get to a little bit of actual, like, soft shading and stuff versus doing the hat shading. But now from here, I think this is all right. I want to get a little bit heavier. I'm going to turn the drawing down a bit. I'm going to get a little bit heavier. And some of this line work, so I've just bumped up my pencil brush here. Just a little bit higher of a thickness. Pick out a few lines. There's already I've kind of like doubled up on some of these lines and reworked them a couple times. So we're just going to come in here and just get right to it. Just get to that thick, heavier line. Now I don't like to go super duper thick at first. There's always room to add more, and that is definitely an art making philosophy that I follow, especially being a tattoo artist, is that you can always add more, but you cannot take away. Now obviously you can't take away here. I can erase, I can undo, no problem. But just as an art making principle, it's just something that, you know, I don't know, I just kind of, you know, I just kind of live by. You know, my high school art teacher was very, very down on using erasers, especially like in a conceptual loose drawing kind of basis when you're working on ideas, and you know, working through. I mean, because you can just get caught up spending all your time erasing all the weird little random lines that you made. When sometimes those weird little random lines will even give you, you know, the secrets, the effects that you need to make your piece more interesting. back down to a thinner line for this. I want that thicker, but I don't want it to be quite as dense. Couple lines here. I'm going to put a couple little lines here, because these are going to be my chrome lines, my shiny lines. All right, now I am going to, from here, going to go to another layer. That way, when I get in here and do this kind of hatch type shading, you'll be able to see that that just easily, goes away, comes back. It appears a little slow. Normally, I shut this thing down and give it a good refresh, restart to before I get going into this. I'll have to leave this thing on all night with some drawing from the night before, half finished. But I did not restart it this time, so it is acting a little on the slow side, a little touchy. This particular computer, this is a Surface, Microsoft Surface Pro 6. I think so, maybe. Yeah, I think it's a 6. I don't know. I mean, it's a good machine. It's been reliable. I've had it for more than a couple years now. Oh man, like going on like maybe 4 years I've had this one. It's fairly inexpensive. It's a good alternative if you're like me and you're just not a Apple user. Just not an Apple user. No Procreate here for me. Not worried about it. Don't feel like I'm missing out or anything. All I really needed was a machine I could draw on. Now, I mean, make no mistake, this is no Wacom, but it's all right. It does the job. It works. I've been able to function professionally with this machine for a good while without too many problems. I do have to, be aware of how buggy it gets when it's been on too long. The accuracy of the pen, and there's something that could be desired there. But it's not bad. It's responsive. It's quick. I do like to move my hands fairly quick. I can keep up with my hands. One of the interesting things that's going on with this, you can't tell it here from the screen, but there is like this, I don't know, some millisecond delay that's going on when I make a line with my hand, and then as it completes the line on the screen, it's just a little behind, and you can catch it sometimes. And as the computer slows down, its RAM and stuff gets all used up. It becomes more and more apparent. It's kind of trippy. You definitely do get used to it. Not so much to the point where it's weird if it goes away, but yeah, it's something that kind of like falls to the background. I've had buddies watch me draw and notice that delay, and they're just like, "Whoa, dude, that's weird." Doesn't that bother you? And I'm like, it's I mean, I guess it's just part of it. But, you spend a life messing around with lots of art tools and stuff, and playing around with what is and how things work, and I mean, you just kind of accept, all right, this is a paintbrush. This is what paintbrushes do. Can't be worried about what a paintbrush doesn't do when I'm using a paintbrush. You just got to use it for what paintbrushes do. If it's not doing what you need, then you need a new tool. It's not the tool's fault. But yeah. Yeah, there we go. We got something going on right there. Now we can just add a few more little doodads like this. These little simple rectangular shapes, and you know, rectangular shapes. Yeah, they will add a lot. They will really add, you know, just these more geometric kind of shapes. Will just give things a more machine look, or at least a more integrated kind of machine look. You know, there's some stuff here we could really be a little bit more picky about, but you know, whatever. I mean, so obviously this is not this is a natural-esque skull that's kind of looks like it's kind of been modified versus completely built like a Terminator skull. Like a Terminator skull would be built in a auto manufacturing plant, fabricated in a direct sense, where this looks like it was more something was obtained and then modified. And then, so what we're seeing here are modifications on a skull that was naturally grown, as it were. Yeah, man, I think we're going well here. We've got this. Now, let's see here. Now this is really where that soul appears in a face. So once you give it that eye detail, man, it just opens right up. You will see. Put that eyeball in the socket. Ooh, look at that, look at that. Alright. Alright, so we're going to go with this. We're going to add some more little greeblies. Greebly. It's a fun word, greebly. Just one of those words like doodad or gizmo or widget. I always like those kinds of words. The goober. Alright, so now I'm making another layer. And then this one I'm actually putting underneath my drawing layer, at least this top drawing layer. I'm going to do like a 50% gray with just something like a fuzzy brush, nothing hard. So it's going to come down like this, and you can see how it builds up like that. I'm going to start off things. Oh, let's make sure this layer. What's happening here? Hold on. Oh, I see what's happening here. So this has to go. Ah, there we go. So it's affecting some of my lines, but I have two hard line layers. We've got that detail one, and then this other more structural one. So under both of those, I'm going to do this shading so it actually sits underneath all of this line work. It doesn't obscure any of it. All the line work stays on top. So you don't get kind of like a, well, I'll show you, so you don't get an effect like this where things start getting obscured and kind of smeary. That's not the kind of smeary that I want. You know? And so yeah, with this 50% gray, I can just kind of move in here. I can darken up some of the areas that I want to initially darken up, and then go in with some of these other mid-tone areas. Don't need to worry. It'll never quite get to black. It's just this mid-gray. And I like to build up. It gives me some room to move up and down with the shading on this kind of way. And so what I mean by like moving up and down is just in that scale of dark to light. And I will show that in just a second here. I'm just kind of moving really quick through this. I'm just hitting the spots, especially the heavier, darker spots, looking at some basic lighting rules. You know, this is from above kind of lighting. And this is just going to give me some basic values from here on the same layer. I go a lot lighter, and I will use that to pick up and blend out, smooth some of these edges here that I've made kind of hastily. And right now, you know, I'm still working just the body of the skull. I'm not worried about any of these kinds of details yet. You know, I'm just worried about, you know, am I getting a good general value shade to things so that I can see if I need to make any changes with my lighting decisions, if this reveals any other errors and stuff that may bug me too much. There are some errors that don't bother me so much. Some of those can be attributed to being stylistic or being creative, and sometimes those errors make things more interesting. Alright, so I'm going back to a little bit smaller of a brush here. I'm going to bump it down even a little bit more. And now I'm actually on this this brush going into the black. So now I can just hit just a few key points here. And really build up some of the darkest points. And if you notice, I have not worked at all in some of those areas. I initially did some hatch shading and stuff, like in the inside of the mouth, because those areas, you'll see, and I'm sure we're going to get to them. What are we doing here? We are 35 minutes in. Man, I'm having a blast. I think we're just going to mess around with this for a bit longer here. I'm going to check in with reality though, because I am alright. Yeah. No, we're doing good. Now I'll go back to this 50%. Let me do just a little bit more here. And this. I look kind of alive, more human, a little less machine-y, I guess. Back into here, deepen that. And the shadow from underneath, and that'll really make that eye socket feel deeper. That feel deeper there. The nose cavity. Oh man. So yeah. And as far as like anything else that's been going on lately, you know, in the pop culture world, I still have not watched any of the Stranger Things stuff, and I will. Same with The Boys. Same with oh man, I know there's another one out there that is escaping me right now. But all right, so we've got this now. What I'm going to do here, and I'm just going to kind of move into wrapping things up. Now I'm going to use a flat brush, a hard brush here. It's just going to lay down solid. And from here on another layer, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to just these spaces in solid. And that way, you notice, so my decision to not go super full heavy black in a lot of areas, this is really where it kind of matters more, because then this black gets to be black. It gets to be dark, it gets to be heavy, it gets to do its job without too much inside the drawing competing or merging. I don't have anything, I mean, got one little part here, and then we'll show that where it just kind of disappears into the black. But there isn't any kind of like super dramatic lighting, silhouetting, or anything like that with something like this. So I do want it to pop. And you'll notice that one of the main factors that does make something like this pop is all of this heavy black behind it, which can be tricky or problematic when people want something to really pop and jump out on the skin for a tattoo, and this large black, fill area around it that actually lends that effect is kind of a harder thing to include in a tattoo. A big old black blotch around your artwork that inhibits any extensions or additions or anything else like that. It can be tricky. So I'm just going to go right up under here. This gives this a little bit of depth effect there. Now I'm going to move back into this other gray. Okay, that's a line work. Just go in now and do a little bit of detailing. Don't think I have. Oh, buddy. Let's do this. That's multiplying layers. So it's adding on. That's what I want to do. This. Okay. So that's much finer. Kind of brush for this. Oh, that's the other thing that's going on. This brush is still at that hard edge brush. There we go. I don't know why that was just coming down so heavy. Right. Like that. Bump up. Let's back to the black. Come in here quickly. Focusing on divots, little points of overlapping and underlapping. Putting in a little bit of extra detail on some of these. Make them feel like they cut in and out. And do this. A little bit more down here. I think almost there. This is all in under shadow, so we can soften some of that up edgewise. Still there, but feels deeper. Some of that just kind of blends into the back a little bit. Right. Just gonna scribble in a few bits. I don't know what it is, but I like a little bit of chaos in my drawings. I like seeing some of these random lines. I don't know, it feels more legit, feels more drawn versus rendered. It feels more like there wasn't any too much tracing or using drawing, like digital drawing tools like brushes that just create a element for you. I don't have a lot of negative things to say about that stuff. It's just not for me. I'll definitely use tools, but I actually, I mean, I like to draw, so I would never use a brush that would produce a tree in my drawing, so I don't have to draw the tree. I have no use for that. I want to draw the tree, or a rose, or a skull, or I want to draw these things. I want to draw them over and over. I want to draw them 1,000 times. I want to draw. If you really want to draw, there's the idea of wanting to be able to draw cool stuff, and then there's some, like a need or desire to be drawing it. If I draw a thing once, that's not it for me. Like, oh, I did it. No, I gotta be able to draw it, again, 5 times, 50 times. Draw the same thing over and over again, many times. And I love that. I love the ability to draw. And so using any kind of stamps, tools, automated procedures, and stuff that kind of get around the actual part of drawing. I mean, some of it, yeah, I mean, some people, I guess, are just composers. And that's fine. You want to take a bunch of elements, clip art type stuff, photographs, whatever, and then compose something that's interesting, kind of mash it up. That's cool. But for me, I mean, I want to play the instrument, and I don't mind, composing the song, but man, do I want to play the instrument. I want to use the pen, the tool, and make something with it, with my hand and my brain. I mean, to me, there's very, very little in this world that's better than that. No joke. And yeah, so, man, I think I'm like 45 minutes into this about, that was cool. That turned out great. Look at that. From absolute zero, we drew some cool ear kind of metal head skull guy, and yeah, I'm digging it. I'm really digging it. I don't know if this is something that I'll necessarily finish. I mean, this is kind of like a warm-up type thing. I just draw stuff like this all the time. Yeah, so we'll see. Next time around, we'll probably just do something new again. So great. I think this is our longest live stream so far, our longest video for the art stream. Yeah, my name's Levi Smith. This is my art stream. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to support us, show some love, like, subscribe, description in the links, or links in the description, and check out the rest of our stuff. All right. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next one. And then the always turning off of the system.